Welcome back, everybody. Nice to have you along. If you've just joined us, you're watching Cape Rugby TV or on Cape Town TV, DSTV, channel 263. Right, well, of course, as you know, we said we would do a little catch-up with Western Province Rugby to find out what's happening behind the scenes, so to speak. And, of course, as you know, Western Province Club Rugby Manager Faizel Felton. Welcome back.
Good evening, JP. Good evening, listeners. Always good to be back. Looking forward to a great season ahead.
Faizel, so, you know, we spoke to you about 3 weeks ago. You were in studio. Obviously, we did a bit of a catch-up there. Let's just recap that a little bit. I think the two big things you guys have been busy with behind the scenes at the moment, especially, of course, I think a lot of people are talking about it, is the return of spectators to the DHL Stadium. So folks are watching the Currie Cup side. They're watching the Stormers. That must be exciting. Is there a new sort of breath of fresh air blowing again?
No, definitely. I think from our side, you know, the last weekend now, the win that we had now, the Sharks, the weekend pass and that there, it saw a decent crowd at Cape Town Stadium. We had close to 1,800 spectators. So currently at the moment, you know, the regulation hasn't been lifted. We're hoping, you know, before the end of this month, the numbers and it will be lifted and that there. So I think from a planning perspective, what we've done now with the game passed is that we looked at applying, you know, to government for, you know, worst case scenario is 2,000. We looked at applying for 8,000, and then we looked at a 50% capacity. So we were basically ready should government lift it and that there. So nothing has been lifted. So we're hoping, you know, eagerly anticipate. Hopefully by the end of this month we'll have, you know, good news that the stadium, you know, will basically operate with more crowd. But
generally these things you wait for announcements. Everybody around the country waits for announcements and then you react.
Definitely, and that it's a waiting game. But I think at the end of the day, it's about being ready when that when it arrives, that we are ready and you know we can activate.
Of course, last week you had what we believe to be a very successful meeting with clubs. Clubs managed to engage with you again. I mean, before we talk about the possible admin side of things. I would imagine also that it must have been quite exciting for the clubs to get together and see each other again face to face. They haven't seen each other for 2 years, other than when you did the food parcel drive at Newlands. I mean, how was that as just a personal experience?
No, definitely. I think from my side, and I think from a lot of the clubs, it was fantastic to see some of the guys, the old faces, and at the end, you know, looking at in the auditorium that, you know, when we met and that, you know, some of the guys that have passed on, have moved on, you know, that's no longer with us. So it was a bit of, you know, mixed emotions. I think from the, you know, also from the mere fact of us just being able to, you know, see some of the club, the representatives, just knowing that the clubs are there, they are functioning, things are happening, the same members are back. You know, because I think from my side and from the union side, I think the one concern is, you know, we're looking at clubs, but it's more about in terms of, you know, whether the clubs are functioning, you know, the members are there, the executive is running. So it was good to see the old faces, and I think from our side, it was fantastic to see, you know, it gives a positive vibe, knowing that I think we're going to have a great season ahead. Everybody's positive, everybody's looking forward to the season.
So if we look through some of the stages now, when you talk about the season, obviously at the moment, clubs are busy with some friendlies. But you are aiming for, well, let's stop there for a second. Friendlies. Obviously, clubs are planning friendlies. They send it to you guys for approval. Are you getting the feeling that there's an engagement in terms of clubs are talking about playing? I mean, they are. They're talking about friendlies.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the one thing is, you know, from the union side is, you know, I, for myself, been inundated, especially when it comes to the fixtures. Everybody wants to know fixtures. When is it coming out? What's happening and that there. So, you know, look, within the next week or so, there will be fixtures out. It's just a matter of waiting also from government side to see what's happening. The one thing from the meeting that we had was the, you know, clubs having to look at members, having to see what the turnout is. And then basically, you know, when we reconvene, have a meeting, going to sort of basically determine the amount of teams that we, you know, wanting to play. I think.
Does the guys sound excited? I mean, you know, they're having a chance to play rugby against each other for long. I mean, I would imagine even a friendly is exciting.
Yeah, no, definitely, JP. I think it's fantastic. You know, you can hear the excitement in the guys' voices. I think it's just the mere fact of getting out there, the mere fact of escaping, you know, that being on a Saturday at home, you know. So I think the mere fact of coming out to practices, having that normal training sessions, having the matches on the Saturday, I think we can slowly start seeing, you know, there's some sort of normality. COVID is around us, but, you know, we're living with COVID and we learn to adapt. And I think that's where the clubs are at the moment, is that we're basically adapting and we are going to, you know, moving forward in terms of having a season.
So a few things, let's just clear out a few housework things. One of the big things that's starting this weekend, or on at least on the 14th, is the Varsity Cup. That must be also exciting for you guys. You've got 4 universities getting going.
No, definitely. I think from the university side, everybody's gearing to go. You know, the universities have been in contact with us now for some time. You know, especially now during December, we've been inundated with planning and preparation and that. And I think from university side as well, when it comes to training and practices. So I think, you know, the reality kicks in when the season kicks off. When it comes to Varsity Cup, the reality in terms of, you know, knowing that there is going to be Varsity Cup, there is going to be matches. So definitely, I think varsity, you know, we're looking forward to it. I think from the union side, to have 4 universities, you know, participating and playing is fantastic. That's something that we, you know, always looked forward to in terms of putting, you know, Western Province there on the pedestal, on the top, and I think that for us is great.
Another thing that, and we just interviewed Rifat Jappi, strength and conditioning coach for the DHL Stormers. We know that he's been involved in Western Province Rugby for many years. Your next course that you have for World Rugby Level 1 is coming up soon. It is the strength and conditioning course. We've been speaking about this a long time. We know about everybody knows about World Rugby Level 1 15s course, a coaching course for 7s. Very few people talk about strength and conditioning courses. And we've been emphasizing the fact that we need more people to do the strength and conditioning course, and that you could probably even use the strength and conditioning course to do fitness in the community and so on. Are we getting a different drive now? Western Province seems to keep adding on more opportunities.
No, definitely. As the game is growing, I think we need to also equip ourselves in terms of, you know, the ways the games are, you know, is growing. And I think when it comes to strength and conditioning, it's the education in terms of the importance of strength and conditioning, especially off-season, pre-season, in-season as well. I think, you know, from a player's perspective and a club perspective, we just focus on the playing of the game. And, you know, from our side, we've seen it, especially when it comes to the ladies. You know, we have a lot of the youngsters, the YTC program that we're running, they're coming through. But one thing that is lacking is when they come to gym and basically off-field training and that there. So strength and conditioning is something that's very high, I think, in terms of, you know, priority when it comes to clubs and understanding the importance and how it fits into, you know, with the training and that there. So from the union side, the course that we have on Friday, I will encourage a lot of the clubs, you know, to take the advantage. And, you know, if you haven't signed up, there's still opportunity to sign on. It's definitely something that will add value.
And you brought me to my next question, talking about ladies. Women's rugby, the growth of women's rugby. We know you guys have got the wheels turning there now as well.
No, definitely. I think from women's rugby, we've already, you know, from Springboks, the ladies are in camp. So some of our, you know, Western Province ladies are actively involved. They've got a camp again this week in the 7s. They had a camp about 2 weeks ago with the 7s. The 15s just finished the weekend. And then from our side, you know, we start training, you know, with the provincial once we met with the clubs as well. So there's definitely, you know, some excitement when it comes to the ladies. I think it's also from a, you know, mental and also from understanding you know, the ladies are a lot more, you know, wary in terms of what the requirements are, what the needs are in order for them to succeed and where they want to be. And I think the one highlight is the World Cup at the end of the year. You've got the 7s World Cup, the 15s World Cup. So there's a lot of opportunity. And I think, again, you know, it's up to the ladies, you know, to take that opportunity. You know, I think, you know, Coach Stan and...
But also to get involved at club level, to get the women's representatives to drive the growth of women's rugby at clubs.
No, definitely. I think it's the synergy. It starts at the, you know, at the bottom and works its way to the top. So at the moment, you know, we've got a lot of camps happening, and I think when it comes to the club, you know, that's something that we're looking at. And one of the challenges with ladies, have been, when the IPL is being played, the interprovincial. So we are looking and will be in discussions with the clubs with regards to looking at, a possible format that will work for the ladies. I think the key thing is about thinking out of the box and being open for suggestions as to how to make it work.
Yeah. Faizel, before you go, we've got one last thing to ask you, and that is to help us spot the ball. It is the score competition where you can win yourself a case of score as well as a set of Cape Rugby TV masks. So we've got a spot the ball competition where we run our Facebook page, and every week we ask our viewers and fans on Facebook to see if they can spot the ball. So yeah, you can see the graphic is up there now. We have to choose A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2 or C3. And would you care to I don't know if you can see the screen from there, but would you like to hazard a guess? I will also hazard a guess.
I think A3.
A3, you're thinking A3? I'm going to go with B3. So I've got A3, Faizel's got B3, and the correct answer is A3.
Thank you very much.
well, Faizel, unfortunately, I can't give you the case of score and the set of Cape Rugby TV masks, which are, of course, made by CTC Sports. The same guys who make the jersey for the Score 7s. But congratulations then to this week's winner, Michael George. Congratulations, Michael George. You are this week's winner. You were our Facebook winner. You correctly guessed A3. You win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, a set of Cape Rugby TV masks, courtesy of CTC Sports. Faizel, we'll leave it at that. We say to you, thanks for joining us. It's very exciting. We feel the buzz, and we're looking forward to you, to catching up with you and the rest of the squad and finding out more over the next couple of weeks.
No, thank you, JP, and thank you to listeners. It's always good to be here, and looking forward to seeing you again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go, folks. We'll leave it at that. We'll say to you, have yourself a fantastic rugby weekend. See you next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.